The Jetson Haze is the larger, more expensive e-bike made by Jetson, while the Onebot S6L is the more expensive, larger mini e-bike styles made by Onebot. Both are relatively small e-bikes made for easy storage, made for easy transport, made for broke Asians. And in this video, I'm going to be comparing the two. Onebot is a company that makes a bunch of small styled e-bikes. They have 5 different S-series models ranging from small to really small. Jetson offers a lot as well, like the Bolt, like the Bolt Pro, like the Atlas, like the J-Series, and the Jetson Haze. Let's do a rundown of parts, starting with 160mm rotors and mechanical brakes. These have good stopping power. These are not big, gigantic bikes. They stop well. They both have front lights. However, the Jetson Haze has this rear light which is integrated, which is powered by the battery. Both have these front and rear fenders, and they do an adequate job of preventing all the mud and gunk to get on your back. Their kickstands are rather basic, and being basic, that means that they are prone to being damaged. Let's take a look at their height. These are made for tall people. And compared to something like the Jetson Bolt Pro. So you've got a few inches here and a few inches here, and inches can matter a lot to some people. Let's look at the material. This is aluminum, it's hard. This is magnesium, it is also hard. Magnesium is lighter, it is more expensive. However, it does have some flaws. It can corrode. It has some give, which gives it better comfort, but it also means that it's easier to break. Aluminum is the easier choice in that it's lightweight enough and it's cheap, but technically speaking, magnesium is a more premium type of metal. The Onebot appears much larger, but because of the premium magnesium, it weighs just about the same as the Jetson Haze. Let's talk about the motor. 350 watts for the Jetson Haze, 250 watts for the Onebot S6L, and this can imply some things, but it may not be what you think. More on this later. Similarly with the battery, Jetson Haze has 48 volts, 7.5 amp hours. The Onebot S6L has 36 volts, 7.5 amp hours. The total capacity is a bit different, and due to the voltage, since true capacity is measured in watt hours, the Onebot S6L has 280 watt hours, while the Jetson Haze has 360 watt hours, and that is about a 40% difference. This also implies some things, but it might not be totally accurate. The Haze has a 48 volt battery, and feeding the controller the higher voltage, it produces higher wattage, but it's throttled. And it's likely because the controller is being held back as if it was being mind controlled by an obsessive spouse. On the flip side, it will be less prone to drag issues, and if you're heavy, the Haze is much more responsive. There is a notable difference in climbing abilities. On the 15% hill grade test, the Jetson Haze throttle only was able to go a full 2 houses further in distance, throttle only, and that is impressive considering how much I love Chick-fil-A. Bruh. Pedal assist. The Jetson Haze has a single gear. The Onebot S6L has 6 speed. Both felt good pedaling up the hill, and despite having only a single gear, the Jetson Haze has gear and power going for it, and that combination works exceptionally well when climbing hills. Both were similarly decent when pedaling up very steep hills. Let's talk about comfort. The Jetson Haze is shorter and the seat is somewhat okay. Despite that, it's even better than the Onebot. The Onebot is a bit stiff, and there is something about these shocks right here. The Jetson Haze has a better shock system for whatever reason. It could be that it's better material, could be it's better shock, or it could be the geometry. If you look right here, they're slightly different in angle. On the other hand, these handles by Jetson, they're just not all that great. This is a full throttle, and the Onebot has a half throttle, and the half throttle is just a superior system. On top of that, these hand rests, this is a softer rubber, it's more grippier, and it's more durable. However, the Onebot has a sizable omission when it comes to comfort, and that is the lack of cruise control. The Jetson has this button right here. You press it, you go on cruise control. The Onebot, you just fiddle around, look for it. You press up, you hold up, and it becomes a light. You hold the M button and the bike turns off. And you might have noticed that the Onebot has this button down here. What is it? Well, the Jetson Haze has this bell right here. This one has an electronic horn, far superior. If we're going to look at the folding mechanism, they're essentially the same between these two. They have like this two-way folding mechanism. You press, you hold, you fold. It's quite easy. The handlebars are the same way. I mean, foldability, it doesn't matter as much with the Jetson Haze. You might not even have to fold it. You can toss it in a van like this. And if you have a smaller vehicle, fold the handlebar. This might be enough to get you into smaller vehicles. However, the Onebot, you know, being overly large can be seen as a positive, but it has its negatives as well. You have to fold it completely down to be able to fit into any vehicle because it is large. A smaller thing is that the retaining magnet of the Onebot seems to work much better than the Jetson Haze, because the Jetson Haze, it has just like a metal circle. This has like a metal bar that retains the magnet in place. Both have these internal batteries, which is great for aesthetics. It's great for long-term storage for like the winter or whatnot, anti-theft, or swapped for double the range. When it comes to the display, there's a night and day difference. The Jetson Haze has 4 battery level indicators. The Onebot has a LCD display where you can adjust power levels 1, 2, 3. You can show the trip a distance, odometer, and trip time. You can get to the exact nanosecond when you have to go home, as indicated by the nagging wife. All right, let's talk about a tough topic, and that is support. Based on my previous experience with the Jetson, based on what I've seen from the Onebot website, where there's more than one, which makes it a bit confusing even for influencers that are sponsored. The support is what you would expect coming from the IRS. Bruh. Services rendered is not going to equal to the monetary collection. Budget bikes, budget support. And that's just the way things are when it comes to bicycles in general. When you buy a Huffy, are you really going to get support from Huffy? No, you're gonna bring it to a bike shop or you're gonna work on it yourself. These are definitely more complicated than typical bikes. These are electric bikes, so there's more electrical components. There's controllers, there's pedal assist, there's the braking mechanism where it detects that you're braking to cut off the engine. And in the case of the Onebot, there's even a derailleur. But aside from that, I mean, you're working with rotors, you're working with mechanical brakes and mechanical lines. It's not overly complex to work with. The time that you spend to bring it to a bike shop, well, you can just research the topic and possibly fix it at home. You start simple, and that's just by learning how to adjust these brakes. Just turning it this way right here, it's gonna make the brake tighter. And from there, you build upon your knowledge. I mean, contrary to popular belief, you know, Asians weren't born knowing calculus from the womb, except for like Japanese. These small skills you build over the lifetime of owning an e-bike, because in-person support from the brand itself. But wait, with the Jetson Haze, you can see the bike in person, so you can buy the bike in person and you can return the bike in person. And because Costco has a generous return policy, you can bring it back and vent your frustrations right there to the staff right before they toss it in the landfill. The fact that you can see the Jetson Haze in person is a big deal. You don't have to trust the word of an AI generated YouTuber. Maybe you're not up to dealing with intermittent electrical problems. Maybe you're not up to dealing with bent rotors. Maybe you're not up to dealing with squeaky brakes. And that is where the Costco return policy is going to come in clutch. Other than that, we'll be moving on to other parts. The Jetson Haze has metallic folding pedals. Onebot is plastic. Wheels, 16 versus 20 inch, and who knew 4 inches would be so substantial? Bruh. The build quality, not so straightforward. The Jetson Haze, it definitely has a more polished look because the lines are tucked in neatly. The handlebars definitely go to the Onebot. The seat, you know, I'd say the Haze is not better built, but it's more comfy. This one is actually a better built seat. And the frame, magnesium versus aluminum. In the rear, somewhat interesting because the Jetson Haze has no mounting points. It just has, it has these mounting points right here for a small little rack, which might be possible. And the Onebot, it has a more interesting setup, but there are no pieces available right now. It does have a point down here and these two right here. So it's possible that you have one of these more conventional style mounting for the rear rack, but currently there is no OEM solution. All right, let's circle back to the range. And the Jetson Haze has a 48 volt. This has a 36 volt. 280, 360 watt hours. So you're thinking Jetson Haze is the winner, but it's not. I got 14 miles range and 15-mile range with the Onebot. And the reason for that is the less powerful motor. Well, you would think that that's a negative, but because of that, you get longer range. And on top of that, the less powerful motor does not imply lower speed either. The Onebot is faster, going up to 17 miles an hour compared to 14 miles an hour on GPS. So which one is the better pick for you? And for most people, that's going to be the Jetson Haze because you can get at Costco the no nonsense return policy with a somewhat complex device makes it an easy choice. However, if you're a more serious commuter, the Onebot, it does offer the 6 gears, and the gears with the pedal assist, you can get significantly longer battery life because this is one of the few bikes that actually pedals well. It may not seem like it, but this pedals well compared to the Jetson Haze. Jetson Haze has more power, so if you're a heavier person, if you're pulling some sort of cargo rack, not a cargo rack, but if you're pulling like a trailer, okay, the Jetson Haze is going to be the one for you. It clearly has a bit more torque if you're heavy and you're weighing a lot. Yeah, the Jetson Haze is definitely the more powerful one. If you're going off-road, the Jetson Haze is going to pull you through those dirt trails, pull you through the grass better. There are enough differences for you to consider one or the other. Look at the Onebot. It's much bigger, it's much taller, it's made for bigger people. However, the Jetson Haze has the power to move bigger people. Let's talk about price. As of this moment, the Jetson Haze on their website is $899, but nobody actually pays for this price. And interestingly enough, there is no refurbished Jetson Haze available on their website. So the absolute lowest price that you can find on their website is $899. But most people are going to buy it from Costco, which sells it for currently $549. That is the lowest online price I've ever seen for the Jetson Haze. The Onebot S6L is $599 with coupon code UTRUTHER. I don't think 10% is large enough of a factor to choose one over the other. There are other things that you should consider. Do you want the size? Do you want the magnesium frame? Do you want the power? Do you want to buy it from Costco? Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. See you in the next one. Take care.